Hi everyone. Okay, welcome to another tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be creating a multimedia video. What multimedia means is basically different types of file formats that we can bring in together here in After Effects to create a final video, like a promotional video, a commercial, or even a video intro for like a TV show or even a YouTube channel. Um, these skills that you'll be learning today are very sought out by companies and clients. If you ever choose to do freelance or work for a company, uh, this is done quite often. This is a very common type of broadcast job or advertising job that is highly valuable for corporate videos, like I said, commercials, advertising. It could be just a video that is playing in the background in department stores or in hotels or things like that. So let's get started. Before we begin, I want to show you how to be organized. Okay, so right here, I have this folder that I called Beach, and in this folder, I have placed different type of files. I have images, audio files, and videos, um, and they're all placed in here as a way to keep all my elements organized in the same location, and also it helps After Effects to know where it should be reading these files. Now, all of these files have been provided for you right there in Brightspace for you to use. You don't have to use all of them. For example, we have four different music audio files. You can choose whichever one you want. In this video, I'm going to be using the Samba version audio here. And I'm going to be using a few different videos. I'll probably use one or two of them, and then of the stock footage, and then using one of this lens flare or warm lights to kind of enhance the image a little bit better. And then I'll be adding some of these images as well to kind of like playing around with. So keep it organized, put it all in a folder. We call these folders either a work folder or a project folder. And you'll see here that I've already saved my video composition from After Effects, but I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so let me just move this out of the way. And then here in After Effects, the first thing I want to do is go to Composition, New Comp, or New Composition. We say comp instead of saying the whole word composition. That's just like a terminology we use. Control N is the shortcut, or if you click down at this little icon to create a new composition, and the composition settings or the comp settings comes up here, and we're going to name this Beach Video. Okay. The as a reminder here, the presets, you have all different pre-made settings for you as far as the aspect ratio. So whenever you're working on a project, your client says this is going to be in high depth, like 4K. You want to come down to the Ultra HD. If you're going to do a film, down here at the bottom. For the most part for YouTube, HD 720, this one here, is a good one to go with. And then the duration, about 30 seconds. We'll probably cut it shorter. Maybe 30 seconds is good. We'll leave it alone. Hit OK. All right, so then once we have that done, go to File. So this is the first steps you need to do on every single project you work on in After Effects so that your work is not lost. After Effects has a tendency of crashing. Okay, even on the best computers, my computer is pretty good, it will crash. It's just a common thing. So just keep in mind to save often. After Effects does have by default an autosave, but you should be in the habit of hitting Control S very often. But before we do that, you hit Save As again, Control Shift S, and I'm gonna place it over this one. Okay, so Beach Video, hit Save. It's gonna just hit yes on that. Okay, and you're ready to go. All right, now you can drag files right into After Effects from your folder like this. I'm going to grab this aerial of Miami Beach and throw it in there. I don't recommend doing that. I have noticed that that is a leading or one of the causes of a potential crash in After Effects. So I'm just delete that. What I'd rather you do is either go to File, Import, and File, okay, or double click here in your bin, which will open up your folder. If you didn't, um, if you haven't opened up, from there, if you need to go search it, just go find it. But I'm gonna grab my aerial Miami Beach footage here, and hit import. Now, what I'm gonna do from here is just click and drag that footage down into my composition right here, my timeline, and let go. And right now it's black because it fades in from black right there. Okay, so we see the city of Miami Beach. There's some text here. This is just some stock footage I found online. And what I want to do is just I'm gonna cut out pieces that I want that would be very helpful for me to make a beach video. Now, what I don't want is too much of the city, too many of the buildings, so I'm not gonna use this. Now, you'll notice though that I can't go any further down on my timeline. I could stop, okay? But if you look at the information over here, the very top line here is the name of the footage. And let me just scrub this over here so you can see this. Aerial of Miami Beach in 4K. Okay, this is the size. Right here is the time code, okay, or the runtime. And it says that it's 3 minutes, 32 seconds, and 27 frames. So that means I have a lot more footage than just 30 seconds. So I can come in here, right click on this dark gray area, go to composition settings, and I can change the duration. I really don't want to because I know I'm probably not going to go past 30 seconds for this video. So what do I do to see the rest of it? Now, if I click and drag this bar, you notice I can move the that bar. Okay, here's the beginning. So I'm not shrinking it, which is like this. Notice that there's a light aqua color here, and here's the aqua, the darker one. See that? Let me do that again. Okay. Notice that the cursor goes from a white arrow to two black arrows, and that's actually cutting down the footage. Okay, but what I'm doing before was grabbing the whole footage and just moving it. So I can grab it and move, and you see that I'll move my time indicator a little bit forward here. And what I'm doing is just moving it, and the reason that the video is going is because I'm actually just moving the layer itself. So I'm going to find a good footage of just the beach. So I think there was one right here, that one. And I'm at, where my time indicator is at, this blue line with the little arrowhead here, what I'm going to do is hit Control Shift D as in dog, and it will split that footage. Now it's not cutting it, it's actually just duplicating the layer, but it cut it at the right spot. All right, so I'm going to delete the bottom one. All I only want is this top one. Okay, now I'm gonna keep it up before South Beach appears. You see the text that comes right there? So I'm just gonna do it right there. Make sure you have it selected, hit Control Shift D, again D as in dog, and we'll continue. Now you can just keep moving that. You can move your time indicator as well. This is too much of the city. This one's not bad. Right here, we see some buildings, okay, but it's mostly the water and the sand. So again, I'll Control Shift D. And I don't want this one, so just delete that. Move this across. Now, in most cases, this is a pretty good one too. Not that. In most cases, like anytime there's a cut like this, you may want to have them all separate. But for this type of video, I think it's fine to keep it all together. I don't want this part of the downtown area, so I'm just gonna cut it there. I'm gonna move this over to the side. These are two I want to keep. Okay, so we'll just keep moving along. See if there's any other beach imagery. Oh, that's a good one there. Okay, again, Control Shift D. The bottom one I'm not gonna keep. And again, see how that one kind of connects. And it's not too much of the city. It's a lot of the ocean, a lot of the sand. All right, right about there. I'll cut again. I'm keeping this one, okay? And anytime you forget, what I like to do is just stagger them like this, so I can quickly take a glance at what I kept. So this is that layer. This one is that one. And the next one is that one. And just remember that whatever layer's on top is what's visible. So you can see that my time indicator is going through all three, but right now the top layer is visible. So that's what's showing. Let's go ahead and see if there's any more. I think I'm going to stop here with this video because I want to bring in another video. So I'm going to just delete the rest of it. Alright, so I have these three. Okay, let's come over back to my bin, double click, and let's go to beautiful beach background. Okay, again, you don't have to do the same um, videos. You can or the same order or whichever clips I'm picking. You can do whatever you want when you do your version of this. Okay, so brought in a new one. I'm gonna drag that down, and then this one is of the beach just crashing. It's still not bad. I don't think I'm gonna use it for this one. I want movement. Now, most of the time, I'm gonna go ahead and delete it from here as well. Most of the time, the footage that you get is if you don't shoot it yourself, if you don't go and film it, you're gonna get it from somebody else. And normally, they're all kind of like that last one where it's just a constant shot of the same thing. You are the one who's gonna put it together. You're gonna edit together. So I'm gonna import beach footage 4K. So let's see what that one looks like. And then when you click and drag it, you can place it at the bottom, you can place it in between layers, you can place it right here on the top. And this one begins with some credits here. We'll get rid of that. And it fades in from black to show some clouds in the sky. And I may not even use that at all. Oh, that one I will use. That's a good one. So I'm gonna go from here. Let's go ahead and Control Shift D there. And I'll get rid of all that. Don't need this one. So I'm gonna use my time indicator, see if it cuts at some point. There's a dissolve. That's called a dissolve, where it goes from one shot to another. It looks like it's fading in, which it is, but we call that a dissolve because a fade is when you go fade in from black, okay, or fade to black. So I'm gonna cut it just before the dissolve happens, and like right about there. Control Shift D. I do want to keep this one. I like the island there. This one is showing like an aerial of the cliffs of that island. I like it, but I want to see if there's something better. That's some of the beach. That looks like a pier. Oh, that one's good. I like that. Shows a close up of the cliffs and some of the sand. So Control Shift D and get rid of that one, what I don't want. And then I want to just keep looking at the footage. And I'm not crazy about those dark spots in the water, so I won't show that. Maybe right up to here. Control Shift D. Alright, so this stuff I'm not going to use. And I'm just going to keep scrubbing along. See if there's anything else that I can use from this that I find interesting. I don't want to repeat too much of the same shots. This is an aerial shot. Oh, this is a great shot here. This is like of the beach. Just the waves crashing or coming in. And because of the lighting, you can tell it's sunset. And we'll use that to kind of like end the video. And let's see if there's anything else. Okay, that's fine. And see how that's a fade to black right there. So that's a fade. Earlier was a dissolve. Okay, so we have all this extra stuff. Now what I'm going to do is like I'm going to stagger or place the clips one on top of each other. Now the way you place them is going to show how they edit in there, how the cuts will happen. So After Effects doesn't do kind of like a pasting of the frames. I can't bring this right behind this layer. It's going to be on top of it. So then all I have to do from here is determine when I want the next shot to appear. Okay, so you can see that one goes to that one. Do I need that? I have this shot. I have this next shot. It's kind of like, it's just a reversal, and it looks very much the same. So I'm going to bring this one right here over it. So it goes from here to that shot into that shot. That's a better one because the other one almost looked like a mirror of the other as far as how the camera is moving and what the angle is. This one's a little bit better because even though it's still part of the beach, it's going the opposite way. It's closer. This where you can see that this one starts up close and goes up high. This one stays kind of low and moves along. So I like that. Now it goes back to that one. I don't want to show too much of that, so I'm going to bring in my next one down here, and we'll cut to the island. Okay, and the island to from Miami Beach to this island probably is a good way or a good time to dissolve in there as well. Now notice that the layers on here, see how it's overlapping? We can always reduce that. And in this case, I may want to do a dissolve. I may not. I'll probably do something else to transition from this shot to this one. But this is called a straight cut. Okay, just so you guys know, if you haven't taken any filmmaking classes, this is a straight cut, so it just cuts right there. Okay, we'll do a dissolve in a minute on here, or something else. And then the boat appears, and we can bring in this next layer to cut like up really close to that beach. And then we can bring in the waves crashing here at the end. All right, now that's good. So we can hit play if we wanted to preview that, but we don't have to. We have the right idea on what's going on here. Now, the next thing I want to do is I wanted to create those fades in from black and fade out to black. Okay, so right here at the very first clip, you're gonna press T as in Tom, or transparency for the opacity. So the opacity will change the transparency of this. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna set a key a little bit later. Now, I'm gonna zoom in into my timeline by moving the slider here. And After Effects sometimes work best when you work backwards, okay? What that means is that I'm going to look to where I want it to begin. I want to know when the image will fully appear. So maybe around 10 frames, maybe a little bit later. Okay, well, we can always change that, but let's say 10 frames for now. Turn on that stopwatch, okay? And it's going to be at 100%. Now go a little bit before that, maybe 5 frames, and this is going to be very fast, by the way. But I'm doing this on purpose so that you can see the speed and how we can change the timing. And then bring that down to 0. So you can just hover over, and click and drag so that we can bring it to 0. You can also just type it in, just click on it and type in 0. Now we will preview this, and you'll see that will move fast. Oh, I apologize. I forgot one thing. We got to turn off all the audio, okay? Because there's these videos have audio on it. All right, so here we go. You probably didn't hear it though, because my screen recorder didn't record that. So anyway, we'll hit play, and you see it kind of just blinks in here. It's not really a good fade. Now, if you want to change the timing on that, you can just click on that key tick and then move it wherever you want, and then hit play again. Hit spacebar to hit play, and then ask yourself, is that a good timing? Do you want to see a little bit more of the black screen before it comes in? Do you want it to have a slower transition from the fade in? Okay, it's all depends on your timing. It depends on the mood, on the setting. Okay, when we bring in audio, this may change because the audio may determine the tempo of our edits as well. Okay, so just scrub and see where it best fits. All right, so I'm going to zoom out, back in, back out rather, and just hit that. Looks pretty good. Cuts right there. That's fine. Let's do the fade out to black over here. And same thing. I'm going to zoom in to the end over here. And it's going to, let's say, more or less around here. This is all kind of like a feeling, a guess. You know, you can always change the look of it at any time. Press T on that layer, and then we're gonna hit that stopwatch, and then we're gonna go to somewhere around here and put that down to 0, and then we'll look at that. See, that was kind of quick as well. So let's zoom out a little bit. And when it hits the end of your timeline, it'll automatically jump to the beginning. So then I'll just move this out and fades out again. See how it jumps to the beginning? Just move it out more. That's a good one. I kind of want a little longer That looks better. Okay. So it jumps back to our beginning. Let's see everything here. And then again, you can scrub through, get the feel of what you want. Let's do the dissolve. Okay, so now one thing before we move on, look at the layers. Okay, the layers are all named weird, all named the same thing. We need to better name our layers so that we know what's what. So for example, you have to be somewhat descriptive, but you don't have to write a lot. Okay, and in this one, I want to call it maybe green beach because the water's kind of green here. Hit enter, and I'm gonna call it green beach or green water, whatever is something that you can remember. This one here, we'll call this one beach with city. Oh, sorry, I didn't type anything. There it goes. Beach with city, there it is. And let me hide that. This next layer, move this up this way. This next layer is, we'll call this beach forward because the camera's kind of going forward. Beach forward, enter. Let's go to this next one. We'll call this one island. Just enter island. This one here, we'll call it island beach. And this last one, we'll call it waves. Okay, like that. Just very simple. So we used the clips that we want. Okay, now let's do the dissolve right here between beach forward and beach island. All right, so what we're gonna do is just hold on shift and click on both of those. Okay, so again, click on one, hold on shift. We have both selected, and hit T again. T as in transparency, T as in Tom. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and do the fade. Now I'm gonna zoom in a little closer there, and I'm gonna go to the almost to the beginning of this clip. You don't have to do it right on the beginning. I prefer it a little bit after. Okay, and we're gonna hit the stopwatch on both. Then we're gonna go to the end of the bottom one. You know, again, not to the very end. And we're gonna hit this icon right here, which inserts a key manually. Okay. So deselect, so nothing's selected. Okay, it's just selecting the gray area. Go up here, select here. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is like, we're gonna come and move our time indicator to be on top of these two. Now what you're gonna do is like, move your time indicator, hold on shift, and it'll snap. So right there, it snaps to the indicator. And then we're gonna change these keys. So the top one is gonna be 0. So what it does is that we see the bottom, which is called beach forward, and we'll see the bottom all the way through. Okay, now automatically you start seeing it kind of fade in a little bit. See the beach over there fading in, but then we still see some of the one on the bottom, but we have to change that. Okay, now what we're gonna do is hold on shift, come over here, and on the bottom layer, beach forward, we'll change that key to 0. Okay, now what we get is going to be a cross dissolve. They sometimes call it a cross fade right there. So it goes from 0 to 100 on this island layer, and then 100 to 0 on the beach forward layer, and we get that dissolve right there. Okay, very simple. So we got that going across. There you go. Now let's add some other things to this, okay? Let me just close everything here. Okay, so the next thing I want to add is some type of music, okay? I have this one called Summer, which is the one I want to use, or I think I'm going to use Samba instead. I like the Samba one better. So I'm going to bring this. Now you can't hear it when I play it. Once I provide the final video for this, then you can hear it. But basically, I want this nice music to go, and I'm just previewing everything. See how it looks together. I'm testing out the music with the video. If it does work, then great. But for some reason, my audio wasn't recording earlier on my computer, so. But anyway, the point is that you want to hear it with the music, and all you have to do is just press spacebar to listen to that. Now, most music start off with a pause and fades in, so this one luckily kind of fits really well. Okay, and but at the end, it's longer than my composition, so when it ends, it'll just come to an abrupt a stop. So I need to fix that. All right. So what I can do is let's come back to this top layer, waves. Press T again to see where the fade begins and ends. There it is. And I'm actually right in the middle, right exactly where I'm be. Now over here on the Samba, the music audio file here, I want to open up the audio options, and we have audio levels. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just click on the stopwatch for that, and then just after it ends, or a little bit after the fade ends is what I meant to say, not the end of the video. I'm going to drop that decibels all the way down to its lowest number, okay, which is in my case minus 192. So when I play this, it will fade away from there. Now, the only problem with that is that it may sound a little abrupt, okay? So you may have to extend the fading out of the music a little bit sooner than the video. And you also need to find the right spot to where it fades to it sounds okay. It sounds nicer. It sounds doesn't sound like it's just cutting off. Okay, gotta find the right one to where I'm actually gonna undo. Let me see. Let me bring this a little louder. Okay, so right about there, maybe a little bit even sooner. Okay. Something along those lines. So again, you gotta find your perfect spot for that, okay? Now, what I wanna do now is add some other things too, okay? So right now, it's just nice little footage. Everything looks pretty cool. Okay, we got some fades, we got a dissolve. Let's go ahead and add some images here. So we can add, I have a postcard that we want to add in here. I want to add, this postcard right here at the very top. And it looks like this. And let me grab the, I pressed the wrong button. I'm sorry, hold on a second. I meant to grab the move tool. We have this postcard, and press S on your postcard layer, and we're going to scale that down so that it comes in like this. So we can animate this in, we can pop it in however we want to do it. We're going to find a good spot for it, like maybe right here at the beginning, to kind of introduce where we're at. And again, like I said, After Effects works best if it's like backwards. So I want to know where it appears before it comes in. So like right here, that's a good spot. Let's rotate it so it's not just straight like this. And also, let's scale it down just a tad more so that looks a little bit better. And then move it in your right position. Maybe something right there. Okay, that looks cool. Press P for position. Turn on that stopwatch. Go to before the fade. And we'll move it out. Okay, again, timing is everything, and we're gonna see if that timing's good. Okay, and then at some point we'll fade it out. But what I didn't like is how it just stops. Okay, see how it just comes in and it just abruptly stops. So what we're gonna do is like we're gonna change this key, right click, keyframe assistant. We're gonna do easy ease in, and you see that it'll come to like it slowed down. Did you see that? How it slows down right there? That looks better. Okay. Also, a straight line is boring. Let's maybe give it a little curve. You can change these handles a little bit like this. Okay, maybe a little bit later. You can move your timeline a little bit more like that. If you come back here, maybe drop it just a tad more so it's more noticeable. Okay. Okay, also we can add some motion blur Click on the motion blur here to enable it for your composition. Go to the postcard. There's the motion blur option right there. Turn that on. Okay, we can also slow it down just a tad at the end. That's good. It's all about timing. It's about the mood you're creating. Okay, if you want it to come in faster, make it faster. Okay, if you wanted to make it a little slower, make it slower. You know, however you want. That best, like that. It just kind of like comes in quickly and just slows down. And now I want it to fade away. Okay, so I want to come to a point maybe a little bit later here. Turn on your opacity, press T. Turn on the stopwatch. And then around here, it's looks like it's going to be around 4 seconds. We'll just fade it away. Bye. Like that. So that's an element we brought in here. Okay, now let's do another one. Let's do somewhere. Let's do one right here. And we have a picture of a woman smiling. We have two pictures. One of smiling. Let me see which one is which. I have this one of a girl sitting at a beach, and I have one like a close up of her over the shoulder. So I'll probably use, and then there's another one here of a couple. You know, let's use the couple, and we'll import that one. Oh, okay. Apparently that wasn't working. Let's use then the this one here. Okay. We'll bring in her to the top of our composition, all different layers. And we have her. Okay. Now, if you notice, the picture takes over everything. Okay. And I don't need it to be this big. Let's scale it down first. And I don't want to also have it just like this big rectangle just kind of there. Or maybe I want to add something to this. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this tool here, the rectangle tool, just like in the for the shape layers. And what I'm going to do is just click and drag right about here. Now, what I want is her. Okay. So I'm going to do the other way. I'm going to do more or less like right there. Okay. And then if you open up your mask one options, we have one that's called mask feather. And if you like click and drag, what that does is that it'll create a little fuzz, a little feathering of that image, and you can just put it right about there. Notice that I kept this one further away because if I had this too close to the image, then we'll have this on both sides, and I don't want that. So then we can now use our move tool. Click out so you can see what it looks like. Okay, maybe right there, you know, something kind of cool like that. And this one we can do something simple. We don't have to do some type of movement. We'll just have it kind of fade in as well, and maybe cut it off like that. And then we'll put maybe a text here, you know, summer fun or beach activity, whatever you want to say, right in there. Okay, and notice that the image is very large here on our layers. That's okay. Let's press T. Okay, and let's decide where do we want to see that. So right about here, we'll press the opacity. We can move this all the way down, so it's right about there. All right, and this opacity would be at 100. Before it will be 0, and then we'll just see how that fades in. Okay, like that, and we'll just hold it there. So we gotta press this to insert a keyframe, and then we'll fade it out with this dissolve, and then that all dissolves together like that. And that was a little too soon, so we just move this over some. A little too fast of the dissolve. Okay, that works. Just comes in like that. All right. And then to complete the image, we can add some kind of text, something that will appear here to kind of like tie in the beach video with the picture of the girl. So let's come over to the top where it says T right there. That's the text tool. I just click on that. And all you have to do is just click somewhere right in here. Okay, and we'll call this beach fun, whatever you want to say, doesn't matter. Just press enter. Press enter on your numpad to finish typing. If you press enter, the other enter, it'll just make another line. Okay, so we'll just put that right there. Now over here, where it says character, this is all our options to create different fonts or different sizes, the kerning, all that. So you can change anything. You may want to find something that looks more beach fun. Let me see what I have here. That could work. You may not have the same fonts that I do. If you probably don't. But go ahead and just use whichever one that you feel fits um, this theme here. You know, maybe that one. That one looks weird. Let's use. That one looks good. That one looks very clean. Okay. You can also grab these handles and change the size of it, or the bounding boxes like this. If you get lost, just click on your layer like that. Okay. And also, where you place this matters, because if you put it underneath the beach, notice it gets cut off by. I'm sorry, underneath the woman image, it gets cut off here in that feathering. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it on top, and what I'm gonna do is I can have it animate in. Okay, so let's cut down this layer a little bit, and I'm gonna cut it off around here as well, a little bit later actually, and then Control Shift D to cut that. I don't need the rest of this. You can do the same thing with your other layers too, so that it's a little cleaner. Over here was our postcard, so we're gonna cut it off after it fades away, and then that way it's a little easier. Okay, so then this guy, we're gonna have it animate in. So we're gonna animate it about the same time as she fades in. Okay, so right about there where she's still kind of transparent, I'm gonna press P as position, turn on the stopwatch. Again, working backwards sometimes is more useful. Okay, and then I'm gonna bring it in just after she starts fading in. So I'm gonna move it out like that, and when I hit play, like that, again, see how it kind of stops very quickly. Just go to that last keyframe, right click on it, keyframe assistant, easy ease in. Okay, sometimes people get confused. I think it's out because it looks like it's the end of the animation. We actually want it to ease into it. Okay, so then it goes like that a little bit, and you can add that blur on that layer, so it blurs in like this. Let's see, it looks like. And if it feels it's too fast, change your timing. The further apart your key ticks are, your keyframes, the better it is, or rather the slower it is. Like that. That works really well. Okay, and there's another thing I want to add too to this, maybe to have a little fun with it, which is going to be this lens flare right here. Okay, this file that's also in Brightspace under the files. So I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to put this to the top, right in there. And I have a lens flare in this stock footage, which is this yellow one right here. There's a blue one right before it, but I want to use that one. So I'm going to go towards completely black, Control Shift D, get rid of this first part, and then where it goes away, let me see it, right there, get rid of that. Okay, now I wanted to be able to see the beach, the girl, the text. So how do I do that? So on your layer on this side, there's mode. This is the blending mode. Okay, if you click on normal, and we're going to go to screen. All right, what screen does, it gets rid of the black background, and all that's left is whatever color that we see. Okay, so it's kind of cool right there. Now I'm going to position it to when beach comes in. So I want to make sure I'm on that layer, and I'm going to place it somewhere like right here, and I want it to happen a little bit after, right there, like that. Okay, now there's one thing you may be able to notice if you don't, is right here. See, you can see the edge of this composition, which is the lens flare right there. It creates a line. See that? It's right here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's there. So just to be safe on this, we're going to do an effect. And you're in effects and preset. You can go over to your effects and presets as well. You got to click on um, your composition, your timeline. I'd rather do it over here so you can see, you can search it, okay, which is going to be levels. Okay, levels, and you look for the one that says levels right here under color correction. Okay, let's go back over to here. Make sure you have your timeline selected. Go to effect, go to color correction, go all the way down to levels. Okay, so that's the same thing. This one's just easier. This one you have to get used to know, or you have to get an understanding of all the names, what they do, because they do a lot of stuff. So we're gonna go here, click on levels, and then in your bin, changes to the effects controls. Now what I want to do is just remove that. So if you bring in the arrow here that represents black on the left, you'll see that kind of like fade away that edge. And I don't want to do too much because I don't want to take away too much of that lens flare. Okay, and that's it. See, it was kind of done. Now be careful, see how the beach fun stays behind. Okay, so what we're going to do is do our opacity animation keying. Let's do it around the same time as the girl, so it kind of fades at the same time. So on our text right here, press T for opacity. So let's go to this key text first, click on the stopwatch, go to the last one, and bring it down to 0. And then what we'll have is this. And they all kind of fade away. Perfect. All right, and that's where I'm going to stop. Okay, so I'm happy with everything coming in. I have like this little piece of text saying where we're at. It's a Pacific Beach, but it's really Miami Beach. And then we have this girl come in to show us like, oh yeah, it's gonna be fun, beach fun. You have activities, and then it takes us to the islands and the beautiful nature, and then the sunset. You had a wonderful day at the beach. So this is how we can compile everything using multimedia stuff. So we used audio, video, image, and text here in After Effects to create all this whole little promotional video. Now what we're going to do is we're going to render this. So make sure you're in your timeline. Okay, go to composition, add to Adobe Media Encoder, the Q. I'm going to give it a moment. Okay, and we'll just wait for it to pop up. There it is. And then we're going to leave the settings the same. If you don't have this, change it to 8264, to the YouTube 720 HD version. We're going to place this in the right folder, which is, it's going to the right folder. If it's not, just go ahead and make the change, hit save, and hit the green button, and we're going to wait. So at this point, I'm going to end the video. I'm going to upload my video so you can see it. It's going pretty fast, and you can review it. What I want you to do for your assignment is to do something similar. Do whatever you want. If you want to find more images, if you want to use a different song, if you want to use a different order of clips, I provided some extra video there, some other images that would be useful. But again, you can provide whatever you want. You can use your own text. You can put, be creative with it. Have fun. Okay? And I look forward to seeing what you guys make. All right, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.